Hi guys, so it has stopped raining, so I've come out today to show you a little bit of what's going on around the place. I've been working very hard on turning this top terrace area into something pretty. Do you like my bubblegum pink bench? I painted it that colour, I'm guilty. This terrace can't be removed because it says sanitary cover on it, this hello bird, this what do you call them, manhole thing. It actually isn't sanitary, it's a well. It's the most amazing, spectacular brick Victorian well that I have ever seen in my life. I can't lift it off, but it means that we can't really do anything with this area. So I've started trying to sort of pretty it up. I've got rampant ivy, of course. And then this area has always been lots and lots of steps, lots and lots of bits of terrace. And we are now digging this bit out. It's about, how long would I say that was? I don't know, 6 foot, maybe if I lay down. Yeah, 6 or 7 foot across and maybe 5 feet back. There's a little wall there and you come down steps to it. We're digging this out and then we're going to break up what's left in there and put some soil on the top, and I'm going to plant this up. This is my spring summer project for Buy the House, just to beautify this area a little bit, because it's not the greatest of areas. I mean, you've seen this before, because of course I had the leak over here, we had all sorts of slabs up. So this is all going to be renovated and filled with flowers and hopefully will look lovely. This is my mum's little porch. It's so lovely, look. It's like, I was about to say, it's so lovely. It's sort of like living in a construction zone part of the time. I mean, there's a big thing of sand there. My son-in-law is working very, very hard. I don't know if I swung that around. My son-in-law is working very, very hard on converting these 2 old buildings. He's put a new roof on. It was all old clay tiles, leaking and so on. But he's going to convert, we've put my finger in, where that window is and where that window is. He's going to close those doors and make it into a playroom for the children, because it butts on to their house. But it means that we have tiles and we have sand and we have skips and we have, yeah, windows waiting to go in. Oh, the joys of living en famille. The snowdrops are coming out everywhere, which is just such a lovely sign. I love it when spring starts to come and you've got the bush is flowering or beginning to flower. So lovely, lovely, lovely. This is one of my favourite trees we have here. No idea what it is, please don't ask. I think, I'm saying no idea, I think it's some sort of oh, what's the word, you know, it has catkins on it, so it gets catkins, so it must be something, maybe a kind of a willowy thing, I don't know, but I love the way that it goes up into the sky like that. I'm daft, aren't I? So anyway, let's do the serious stuff. There's snowdrops and Mimi eating grass, which she always seems to do. Bert's with us, of course. Can't go anywhere without the Bert. And there's my statues of my deers that my beloved got for me. And then I think we'll do the stables first. So we go through this little copse, I suppose it is. It's got a random piece of fence. We didn't do it. It was there when we came and we've no idea what it was used for, because it doesn't really enclose anything. But we've got, you know, various trees trying to grow. Can you see how they're leaning? And the reason we didn't plant these, so let me stand straight. Look at the lean on that, the poor thing. And that's because it's planted right next to those. I mean, who's mad enough to do that? I don't know. This is where we bury our pets. I think I've told you that before, that there are 3 here now. My Louie, Boo and Tinkerbell are here. I'm sort of thinking that I may decide that I will be here one day. I'm not sure that I want to go to anywhere away from here, because this is, I love it so much. And I mean, look at these beautiful trees. I mean, this evergreen is growing up in the middle of all these tall trees. I don't know how it does it, but it's amazing to me. So big changes here. We've dug out all behind these stables because we were having water issues, damp issues really. So that's all been dug out, and we're going to be laying, I think you can see the pipe at the top there. That's a sort of a drain thing that you put in, and then you put all stones around it. So we have a big pile of stones in the middle of the yard at the moment. Plans are that this, where can I stand? Okay. Plans are that this particularly big stable that we turned from 2 little stables into 1 big stable. We did it when Stella was pregnant so that it could be a foaling box and room for her and a baby, lots of room in it. We're actually going to convert this now into sort of a food store, a grain store for straw and hay and all those sorts of things. So that's going to involve closing this window, I believe, making this doorway bigger and closing that window. Probably still leave the one inside. I mean, it's mad, isn't it? When we were preparing this for Stella, I was like, it's got 4 windows with no glass in them. You know, how cold can it be? But for a horse, it's great, apparently. So that's going to be converted. This little stable, this is the smallest one, and we've always had issues about how small this is. But we put one of the little ponies in it. This little stable is going to have a brand new door on it, the window blocked up and everything in here, and this is where we're going to keep tack. And then the only original stable that we're keeping is this one, which is a nice size, and little Jojo, can you see I've got her plaque? Little Jojo's going to live in this one, and then we're going to cut a window out of the wooden one so they can see each other, so she's not alone. So these are the original wooden stables that I bought when we first moved in. They all have name plaques now. So Dowie, my Dowie is in here, and my Dora will be in here. But then we bought, this is what we were saving for, it was tough. We bought 2 new stables, so they face each other. This one will be Stella's. It's lovely and big. We've just put lights in. Oh, it's a bit mucky in there. I won't show you the floor. But this is Stella's. And then this one here is, of course, Aurora. Mother and daughter next to each other. So we've got a few things that we have to do on the yard. So we're left with quite, if I go back here, we're left with a nice area. It would have been nice to be even bigger in between, but it's plenty of room in between because we bring 1 horse in at a time, or groom 1 horse at a time. But what we may have to do is put just where that line is, can you see that there? That's where the old cement stopped and the new cement started. We may have to dig that up and put a central drain in. We're not sure yet. We have the bits should we need to, but we're not sure yet. This again has drain running under it, and this is the side, so you can see the pipe, so you know where we are now. So this is all being piped. This bit already is, this here already has the pipes in, so that we can try and make the yard as dry as possible. And then this is this turnout field. This field, I cannot believe how much it has cost. I can't. We had to re-fence it all, and fencing at the moment is hideous. I mean, it's hideous anyway, price-wise. Fencing is a hideous cost anyway, but at the moment it's off the charts because the wood is so hard to come by because of the shipping problems, and it's so difficult and so expensive. We were shocked because we tend to buy quite a big batch at a time because we're constantly having to renew and repair fences. And we know the difference between the last batch of wood that we had fencing and this batch of fencing, and we know that they're not cheating us. It's not anyone being naughty, it just is a fact of life. So yeah, this has all been re-fenced, new gates put in, new hanging properly gates. How exciting is that? And then we have all this black stone which is sort of crushed roadstone. It won't get in their feet, it's not sharp, it won't hurt them. One hay bale, I think I've told you about the hay bales before, you buy a big roll of hay, really big, and you put that over it and it helps preserve it, and then lots of them can eat at the same time, and it stops Aurora lying on it and ruining the hay. Look at this. This is the typical back of a stable or a barn or a something. There's so many things that need clearing up and putting away and disposing of. I mean, this was a building, this was a little, it was leaning away, it was actually coming away, it wasn't pegged properly into this wall, and it started leaning horrifically, and we were quite concerned about it. And then a friend of Tom's who was helping him when he re-roofed the main stable, whoops the daisy, oh, I nearly fell over this here, he fell through it. So we were like, okay, now's the time, let's just knock this thing down. But this is all going to be cleared away. It'll take time. I mean, if I do this with you every month, I'm hoping that there will be progress. This old Nissan hut is where the sheep live, and I'm coming down this field, and what we're going to do is break up all this old stone and actually put it in the ground here, or put it on the ground here, and grind it down, because this particular piece here, there is a spring. I'm sure I've told you this before, there's a spring somewhere in here. It's not bubbling enough for it's not coming above the ground in the sense that you don't see the water going bubble bubble, but you do see that the ground stays wet all year round. So we're going to smash up all this concrete, all these bricks and things, and fill it in there and just sort of clean this area up and make it better for us to walk on. That of course is the old barn where the goats live. They're not in there at the moment, they are out in the field and they are watching me. So of course we have Jar Jar and Binks, and we have the goat Charlie with them. Can't see him so well, he's too close to the fence. Then we have May, the sheep with a little black face, and we have Hopalong just there underneath this amazing oak tree. That's why this is called the oak tree field. Makes sense, doesn't it? The goats have a play area, part of it built by my son-in-law, and part of it is an old little slide that was the babies. They're now much too big for it, but he made a play area with bridges and all of this by there, and we added that on, and they seem to enjoy it. And just behind it you'll see that there's some, literally behind there, you'll see there's some brown soil. Well, that's where Danny is. So yeah, over here we have the tree plantation, we call it, or Dingley Dell, depending on the mood. The chap who owned this, or the husband and wife who owned this place, was really into trees, and he planted up this area with lots of very unusual trees. Now I can't take you down there at the moment. It has a lot of springs. You can sink right over the tops of your wellies in amongst it, but the trees seem to love it. So in the spring, summer, when it's all dried up, summer probably, I will take you down there and show you some of the beautiful trees that are in there. You wouldn't expect to find them just slap bang in the middle of the countryside. Then of course we have the glorious thing that is the muck heap. Don't we love it, ladies? Anyone that's got horses or animals will know the murder that is the muck heap. We're hoping next year to put a menage on. That's the one thing we don't have and would be really handy, especially once Aurora is broken and trained. Can you see Stella standing? Let me see if I can zoom in. Stella is standing at the fence there, looking across to see what I'm doing. Yeah, we hope to put a menage onto this piece of field here. As you can see, it's got terrible drainage problems anyway, so it's not very good for the animals. So we would take a slice off this field, make a decent menage. Bertie? And they would really benefit from it, I think. The ground, can you see how muddy and mucky and awful it is? clay soil. You know, if this wasn't my forever home, I would be looking for somewhere that didn't have clay soil, because it is an absolute nightmare to work with. And you can see that's the field I was showing you with the stone. We've done a nice entrance to it again with the stone. Yeah, that's Stella's looking so indignant. She's like, why are you over there? I saw you by the stables. What do you think you're looking at? I know my Stell. She's a very indignant horse at the best of times. So this is the bit that we haven't finished of their throwaway turnout field. Whoops. At this top end here, we're putting liner down, and we're putting down a very good grade of silica sand. It doesn't look very thick at the moment. We probably will be adding more and more and more over time, but this is an area where the horses can roll, because I mean they won't want to roll on the stone, but horses love to roll. So this will be their rolling area, and it's not quite finished. The digger that we hired has broken down and has had to go back, so that's put a crimp in our plans, because this was so nearly finished, and then yeah, splutter and it stopped. So but we have sand waiting, and we're hoping to finish this maybe this weekend. It would be great if we did. I'm sure you're all the same, whether you're planning something outside or inside. You plan on something being, you know, taking X amount of time, and then it takes a lot more, and it really does with outdoors, because you just never know what you're going to find. So you have to practice patience, but I'm not the most patient person in the world, whereas my son-in-law and my daughter are very patient. They're sort of, oh well, we'll get to it. They have that kind of attitude. It'll happen, it'll be done. And I'm like, when? I'm living in a bloody pig tip. You should see my shoes, filthy. Anyway, let's keep going. Here we have 2 walnut trees. There's one, okay, and there's the other one. They've been planted for so long because originally there were 2 beautiful trees either side of this animal area, but unfortunately they were poisonous to horses, which is kind of weird. So we had to cut them down. They were beautiful big trees, and I said, oh, let's put black walnut in, but unfortunately the horses keep eating them. They keep reaching over the fences and eating them, so they're just not growing, but they are getting sturdier trunks, so I'm hoping eventually they will be strong enough. And we have sort of raised, can you see, we've raised the height just by the 2 black walnut trees, because I was fed up with, you know, I'd see growth, I'd think, oh brilliant, and then I'd come down and the horses had eaten it. Lots more snowdrops. This is some of the wood, look, the fencing. Oh, I don't know, when I look around and I'm talking to you guys, I just think, oh, we've got so much to do. I'm hoping, we are all hoping, we are all praying that this will be the last winter that we see this. I'm hoping it comes across. I have paid, I don't know how much money, I don't even really want to think about it, a lot of money having drains put in, and you can sometimes see the lines ever so slightly. It has made no difference whatsoever. I have been conned by these people who say, yes, we'll put a drain in, it'll be amazing. It makes no difference, and that is why it has taken us a few years to accept the fact that I needed to sacrifice the other field and you know, put man-made, you know, stone and not man-made, but you know what I mean, crushed stone and sand. We've tried so many things. We've had so many people out here, drainage specialists. But this land is very wet. It's not only clay, it is very wet. We do have something like 4 different wells on this land. Not fancy pretty wells, they're just, we know they're there because there's usually a bit of grating over one. And we also of course have the, can you see, which way do I do it? Can you see this thing in the background? Oh, I don't know if you can, hang on. This water wheel. Finally, this water wheel on the grounds, I mean, that pumped water for the whole of this place and for the farm below and the farm to the side. That's how wet this property is. We didn't know that. I mean, we were so innocent. We were such townies. So we do have a bit of an issue, as you can see, with the fields, and it's just, we've tried everything. So next winter they won't be going on these fields unless it happens to be one of those icy days, you know, when the ground is rock hard, then they'll be allowed to come out here and have a blinking good run. But on days when it's wet, when the ground is soft underfoot, they will not be coming on here, because it destroys the ground. It's no fun for them. They don't like standing in mud like this. And it means that the grass, when it comes up in the spring, has a much harder time of it to come up on this. I mean, we do have it, we get a tractor, we get one of the local farmers who's a good friend, comes out and he farrows it. Harrows, I always say farrows. He harrows it, and we spend money on seed and all of that, just to get a bit that is then destroyed again in the winter. So it is really disheartening. So we're hoping that all the money, all the time, all the work is worth it. Now, I'm not going to be able to show you the horses because they have gone right down to the far end of the property, and they're not going to come back, I can tell. But I'll show you. They are all the way down on that tree line. If I zoom a bit, let's see if you can pick any of them up. A little bit of Aurora. Aurora's shining. Can you see? Aurora is sort of, sort of there. They're not allowed down there all the time, because actually there's a fence line, and they're the other side of the fence line. It's our bottom drive that comes to the stables, so you can bring things without it going past the house. They're not allowed down there very often, because there isn't very much eating down there, but they haven't been down there for a few weeks, so we've stuck them down there just for there is enough eating for, you know, a day or so, but they're coming in at night anyway and being really well fed. So yeah, we allow them to go down there. So I'll have to film another day. Yeah, they've all congregated. I can't get my camera to zoom in enough. No, it's just not gonna. Try again. Yeah, they're all congregating. Stella is standing by the tree. Can you see? She keeps a weather eye. But isn't it glorious, guys? Spring is coming. Look, my Mahonia is a very, very old Mahonia, I must say. But it's beginning to flower. I love all that when you can see it all coming back. It keeps raining on me every so often. Just spitting rain. But it is lovely to be out and to see the change. I mean, look. That's the dumper truck that works with the digger. So the dumper truck is fine and it's sat here, and the digger is nowhere to be seen, but the kids like it. There's no keys in it or anything, so they climb all over it and think it's marvellous and have their little imaginary games on it, you know. So that's the working part of the house, of the gardens, of the land. I don't really know what to call it. It sounds pretentious, and I do say it sometimes. It sounds pretentious to say the property, but at the same time that is the correct term. It's not a farm. It is a house with land. It's not even really a small holding, because with the exception of the chickens, we don't ask anything or use anything that the animals provide for us. But it's such a beautiful day. Can you see the sun is shining? It is cold. Oh, it's cold, but it's beautiful, and I'm very happy. Let me show you. See, that's the copse. That's that little copse with these amazing trees in it that I will not allow to be cut down. My daughter and my son-in-law, being so focused on animals, I mean, they really are so focused on animals, they were all keen to cut all that down. It would add another field to the property, probably not a very big one, but a field to the property, and I'm not having it. It's taking those trees a very long time to grow, and trees actually feed my soul. So they're not going. The ducks at the moment, we only have 5. We've had a lot of losses this winter. It's been very difficult. There's been, you know, massacres going on. But we're not going to increase them at the moment, because again, we hope to do some work on the pond and areas at some point. Let me show you. We've got wild ducks down there again. Can I zoom in? I can't go too close to the wild ducks because they will fly. Oops, ouch, that was in my hair. If I stop at this tree, I might can look at them. So they're our ducks, they're always together. And then can you see there are two wild females looking very suspicious, so they're going out on the water now because they're not sure. Of course I've got the dogs with me, and two, is it ganders? The male drakes, and two drakes, and they are wild. Now we can only think that they possibly were born here last year. It's very strange that they've come and they've determined to stay, and at some point they will fly off. But can you see we need to do some work on the pond? Can you see the pipe that's come above ground, which we're not very happy about? We've got overflow situation going on, so yeah, that's going to be looked at. Once it's looked at and we think it's safe again, not safe, not this end safe, when we think it's right again, working properly again, giving us what we need, then we will probably get some more ducks again, because ducks are a particular favourite of mine, and they are my husband's number one. Of all the animals out here, not keen on horses, goats, sheep, oh, forget about it. Chickens, nah, they're just stupid. The ducks, he sits on the bench and watches the ducks. So I want to make sure that he has a happy family to watch. So that's it. I'll probably put this up without any more animal stuff, because this is quite long. I've just noticed how long it is. And I'll put this up, and then another day I'll do the animals. I'll do the horses in particular, and we'll talk through them. Maybe go down there before we let them out one day, and you can meet them really close to in their stables. So that's it. It's cold. I'll tell you how I know. I start going red here. I probably should have a scarf on. It's probably my own fault and should have a scarf on. But that's it. The dogs have had a nice wander. And as I say, I'm hoping to do this monthly at least and show you what's changed, what we're doing. Sometimes it'll just be things I'm planting, and other times it'll be, you know, big work like we're doing at the moment. So anyway, I hope you're all well. I hope you enjoy this. I hope it's not too flipping boring for you. And I'll see you soon. Bye guys.